Very good evening. Welcome to the Saturday preview, 5:45 on a Friday night. I've not long got back from an afternoon at Doncaster Races, which is one I'm looking. I've been at work, I should say. I've been working for the Johnson firm, hence the shirt still on. I'm probably looking a little bit dishevelled as well. Um, the good news is, though, that I've had loads of time to have a look at this Cheltenham card because I've actually done it throughout the week for the Sporting Life. All the comments on the Sporting Life website for the race card are mine. So I've had loads of time to look at this throughout the week, and really it was just a case of once the decks came out, which ones I want to get involved with and which races I don't. And I've had a look at the Skybet as well. I'll touch on that a bit later. I think the first thing is first thing to sort of touch on the ground really is going to be at Cheltenham tomorrow. Earlier in the week, they interviewed one of the head groundsmen at Cheltenham, and he was basically saying it's still sort of soft, but he expected it to continue to dry up, and by Saturday he thinks it's going to be riding good to soft. It was certainly no worse than good to soft at Doncaster, I would hasten to add, today. I think the fact that Weston Miller was winning a race rather suggests that it's going to be good ground tomorrow at Doncaster. But as far as Cheltenham goes, I think by the time we get to tomorrow, they're still calling it soft at the minute. I think it's going to be near a good to soft, which will, and on drying ground as well, which is going to help one or two of them, I think. The first race tomorrow, the juvenile, the JCB trial is rather cut up, I'm afraid. There are a couple of interesting ones here, and I'm slightly kicking myself now because I was sort of talking myself into having an anti-post bet for the race on the Stuart Edmonds Roland Ward, who I was really taken with actually at Kempton. I do like Stuart Edmonds. It's no secret to anybody that reads the punt that I'm a big fan of Stuart's, and I think his horses go off. Still think they go off overpriced, and I think bookmakers have yet cottoned onto the fact that he's top notch. And I thought he did the job nicely at Kempton. I really do. The worry would be that he'll not come up this hill as well, but he came up the hill to a point. It's on the flat at Sandown last year. He was a beaten favourite there, but he still run to a good mark. He still run to sort of high 70s, even though he was a beaten favourite. And I don't think the hill will be a problem. I think the drying ground's ideal for him. And if there are any chinks in the armour of this Monte Cristo, this French import that's having its first start for Nicky Henderson, then he'll be there to exploit it. The form of the French horse, this Monte Cristo, I always find French. It's not really my bag. There are others out there that know the French form better, but I would say that the race at Auteuil that he won the second's come out and won since. So you can, if you're going to use that as some sort of a yardstick, then it would appear to be decent enough form. Night Edition I thought was another quite interesting one, and again I'm regretting not having a small investment each way. I think there was some 40 to 1 in the week, but 3 places. I think that was an interesting one behind Blacko first time out. He's come out one again this week since. I think he's a Boodles type. I think they're just trying to get him handicapped for that. So tomorrow might not be the day for Night Edition, but I think he's an interesting one for the future. I don't think there's a bet in the race, so I'm happy to leave it alone. The 115, the Novices Handicap Chase. I'm missing something here because I don't get why Imperial Aura is quite as short as it is. I get that the handicapper's having to sort of leave his mark alone on the PIM form. He would probably raise it about £3, I think, but probably only £3. I don't think it entitles him to be quite as short as he is, and it's a race. I've seen Hills are going 5 places, and with that, you can't kick Mercy Me out of the frame here, can you? I mean, he's been a bit of a disappointment, over hurdles. He was a short price favourite a couple of times and got beat. But he looked absolutely bob on at Sandown in the paddock, and I'm those of you that read the reviews that I do, I'm sort of kicking myself for not backing him at Sandown. I'm not going to miss out again. He's been raised £8 for that Sandown win, but he won it so easily. I mean, he came there at the last leg at Fresh Horse and just went away from him. It might have clicked now. It might be that it's now clicked with Mercy Me, and he can take an £8 rise quite easily. In fact, I think if you're going to be looking at getting into one or two of the handicaps at the festival, a marker 133 ain't enough. He's going to be needing to either win or go very close here again. And with that, I like his chance, Mercy Me. I think the ground will be ideal for him. It'll dry up a touch for him, and that'll be absolutely fine. He's around about a sort of 6.5 chance, and as I say, with the extra places in a race where there aren't that many that really sort of think I'll get involved with and think, yeah, I definitely want to back that. I think a few of these might be struggling a little bit, and the form's not worked out for one or two of them. So I think he's got a really good chance. On the slopes, he's one that I've been keen on a couple of times this season. I think again he'll not be far away. He's generally pretty consistent. I have a slight concern with the final hill from the slopes, but only a slight one. Again, I wouldn't put you off. And if you are looking for something at a whopping price, Garo de Julie now dropping back into handicap company. There are flashes of form there that definitely give. If you're giving Imperial Aura a 5, making it 5-2 on some of its form in level weights races, then 28s, 33s Garo de Julie is probably too big on its second to the likes of Slate House. And it's taken on Mr. Fisher and Midnight Shadow in its last couple of starts as well, and not run at all badly. He'll need to pick his feet up. That's the only worry with Garo de Julie, is that somewhere along the line he will hit something, but he looks a big price to me. 150 is the handicap chase. Good race this. I have had an anti-post bet in the race. I did because I thought he was almost certain to be a runner, and with the drying ground, I've backed Count Meribel in the race, and he's blue across the board. Odds checker. As I take my first look, I've had a bit of 12s, 4 places Count Meribel, which I think is a decent bet. I'm happy with that. He's now down sort of 8-1, getting down towards sort of 7.5, and that's probably where I thought he would be. It's a case really of him with. I like the form that he showed. Some of his novice form, if you go back to sort of 2018, reads really, really well. A marker 145 is fine if you want to take the fact that he ran Lost in Translation. I know he only got beaten. I know he sort of says he only got beaten 2 and a bit lengths by Lost in Translation at Carlisle. Lost in Translation was very much eased down. But even though the fact that he was eased down, even if Count Meribel got beaten 10 lengths by him, which would probably have been nearer the mark, that would still have been a really good run. And if you take that as literal, I think he's got a really good chance here. Ground was too soft for him in the Bet Victor, but he was far from disgraced there. Still finished sort of within hailing distance of the leaders, and drying ground I think is the key to Count Meribel's chance tomorrow. And the fact he's had a short break, he's come off short breaks and run really well before. It's an open race, so you can make cases for plenty. Laylaw, the case is blindingly obvious as well. My old friend Highway 101, there is a big race in him, and I think the drop back to 2.5 is very much in his favour. I don't quite think he gets 3 mile, nearly but not quite. He just about gets it on a flat track, I think, but I think 2.5, a fast run 2.5 is going to be his trip. So there's plenty in there with chances. I'm happy with what I've got. I won't be going in again, I don't think, at this particular moment. The Cotswold is an interesting race, I suppose, in so much as we're going to find out which way we go with Santini from here. He's come off a wind up, but there's clearly been some issues. We haven't seen him since November when he made hard work. He did make hard work of beating Naviginti. You can dress it up how you like. I've made the point that he has got some of the attributes that you would look for in a Gold Cup winner, i.e. stamina would appear to be his long suit, which is a nice way of saying he's slow. And slow horses do win Gold Cups, I'm afraid. So, in that respect, he's got plenty going for him. But this race it's a bad race for favourites anyway, this. And for me, I don't think... It wouldn't be the biggest surprise if Bristol de Mai goes off favourite tomorrow. People might just sort of pick the paper up. And if the vibes are bad for Santini in the morning, you can see him drifting out. Money for Bristol de Mai, who will go on the ground. I mean, people sort of have him pegged as a mudlark. He isn't really. It's just that he's a Haydock horse. Well, we always thought he was a Haydock horse, but actually he, third in the Gold Cup last year, and if he can run to that sort of a standard, giving a couple of pound away to Santini tomorrow, I think he'd probably be hard to beat. I don't really want to get involved in the race. I don't think at this stage. I'm happy to just sort of sit and watch and just not have a bet. And that was going to be the case in the Ballymore trial as well. I like Protectorat. I like Protectorat's form. But I do wonder whether he's going to ultimately prove best at trips short of 2.5 mile. He was right to the end of his tether when he beat Imperial Alcazar. And it was because of that, I think, that he ended up sort of losing the race and then getting it back because his stamina was running out so quickly. Yes, he was entitled to take the track position that he did, but because of the way that Imperial Alcazar had to go around him, and because he was gaining all the way to the line. I think that was more to do with Protectorat's stamina running out than Imperial Alcazar finishing with any sort of a flourish. So justice in the end prevailed. I think Protectorat was the right winner, but I do worry again for his stamina here. I think Better Ground may help him. Equally, as a flip to that, he's seen most at sort of home on soft and heavy so far. So I'm happy to sort of give him a swerve. King Roland is the obvious one, an easy winner to Exeter last time. This might be the quickest ground he's faced, but you can't argue with what he's done so far, and he does look a stayer. He does look one that will stay this trip, and probably a bit more as well. But if the ground keeps drying up, excuse me guys, here we go again. If the ground keeps drying up, then I've got to have a little bit. I'm going to have a little bit each way at the 33s that Ladbrokes are offering. I'm going to have to find somebody that can get a bet on at Ladbrokes for me. On Ruthless Article, who has looked to this point like a little bit of a sort of, arguably a summer jumper, if you want. But I think he might be better than a summer jumper. And the reason I say that is I think they've just been, a lot of horses that want good ground do come out in that autumn period, that late summer, autumn period. Then they get put away and they come back again in the spring. And I think Ruthless Article might be one of those. I don't think he was a summer jumper. I just think he's just a good ground horse, if that makes sense. If you look at his Newton Abbott form when we last saw him, he was giving nearly a stone away to Chaland de Burley and Dorking Boy. And we've seen, and he beat them well. Dorking Boy was absolutely way back in third. Since then, Dorking Boy, of course, had the wind up and he's gone on now, and he's rated 130 now, and the way that Ruthless Article panned him would suggest that he's easy 140 and probably a bit more. He's had a break, he's coming back off that break, so the question is going to be whether he's fit or not tomorrow. But at the prices, I'm willing to find out whether he's fit or not. Because if he is, I think there's a place there at worst for Ruthless Article. And if he is where I think he is, if he is what I think he is, which is high 140s, then I honestly, I think 33s is too big. I think it's too big. He's worth chancing at that sort of a price with, as I say, with doubts about one or two of the others in here on ground stroke trip. So at the prices, yeah, I will be betting him. The Cleve is one of these that you've got 8 runners, so you're sort of looking and thinking, each way play here. But again, as I've said before, I think if you're thinking that Paisley Park and If the Cap Fits are taking 2 of those places up, have you got something in here that can beat the pair of them and that's worth playing 3 places? The only one that you would look at, I think, at the prices might be To Be Fair. He's around about a sort of 16-20 to 1 chance. Is he capable of winning this? I don't know. I think I'd almost rather chance a small win bet on If the Cap Fits, who was very impressive at Ascot in beating Call Me Lord. Gave £6 and a beating to Call Me Lord there, and it arguably achieved more there than Paisley Park did when he came back and won the long distance hurdle at Newbury, beating Thistlecrack. Now, that's not to say, of course, that Paisley Park's overall form isn't better than If the Cap Fits. It is. We know it is, because he's the current staying champion and he's back at Cheltenham and the ground will be ideal for him. And you'd think he will come on a little bit for that. 8 to 11 and 3 to 1 might have him a little bit closer for me, maybe sort of 4 to 5, 9 to 4, something along those lines. So the 3 to 1 If the Cap Fits for a horse that I think will improve again for going back up in trip, and I'm pretty sure he will, makes some appeal rather than an each way bet on To Be Fair. But again, we'll see what the prices are in the morning. If To Be Fair is sort of drifting a bit in 20, 25, then that becomes a bit of a player as well. It's pity you've got not 9 runners here, really. Then you could have an each way bet, To Be Fair, without the favourite at around about sort of 7, 8 to 1, and that would make more appeal, I think, because I think you have got a chance of copping the lot. And then the 410, I ended up putting the pen through a lot of these when I first looked at this race, and something might bounce back. Something may bounce back to form. Something like Lust for Glory, something like that Ain't Chair. On Main Tomps you can make a case for, but I don't think he's Ascot form now of last March is looking all that good. And I've ended up having an each way bet 4 places here in the week on John Constable. I know, he could be gone at the game. It could be that John Constable's completely gone at the game. And if he is, then I've wasted my money. But when he ran here in December and he finished within shouting distance of Repetitio, I thought then there's still a race in him once he starts to get his ground. Now, he's down to a marker 123 here. Isabel Williams taking another 7 off. I just have to give him one more go because this will be run at a decent pace. There aren't many hold-ups in here. There's a lot that will want to not just necessarily lead, but push the pace on as well, a lot just sitting behind the leaders. And it is going to be run to suit John Constable, this. The drying ground is a big plus. And I think those two things together have sort of lured me in. I've had a little bit each way, 20 to 1, 4 places. Some of the funds are offering 4 places, and you're getting a fifth of the odds now, and sort of 16, which makes slightly less appeal. I don't know. Would I want to go in again at that? I'm not sure as I would. I think if anything, I'd half want a chance shut the box off the back of a wind up at 20 to 1 plus, because he's a horse I've seen in the flesh a couple of times. Really liked him, and I thought, and he's 5th to Pentland Hills at Plumpton last February is a piece of form that's half decent, really. Flying Sofa was in that, finished 2nd. Grey Diamond 4th. They've come out and run well since to give the form a decent look. He's not performed in 2 starts really this winter. He's well beaten at both Sandown and Wincanton, but the fact that he's had a wind up might give you a clue as to what the problem may have been. Who knows? He makes more appeal than a few at the prices. I think I'm happy to stick with what I've got, to be perfectly honest, and that's a small each way bet. John Constable 4 places at 20s. The Skybet is worth a mention. Plenty of your old favourites here. I think this is a race again that's going to be run at a decent pace. You've got Dingo Dollar in here. He likes to get on with it. Burbank likes to get on with it. Solomon Gray likes to get on with it. Down the bottom as well, you've got Monbeg River, and he tends to sort of lead in his races or certainly pushes on. So this will be run at a good pace, and I'm sort of looking again for something that probably wants good ground. It's going to set off the pace, can come through with a late charge, and Quarenta makes probably the most appeal of those, I think. He's got form going. He's got form on sort of on good ground, going both left and right hand. I think good ground is the key to him. I think good ground is the key to Quarenta, and with that you can sort of forgive his Fontwell run. I should say forgive his Fontwell run. I mean, he won that day, but he didn't run to anything like what he can do. And then at Kempton, that was much better on what they were calling soft ground, when he had just got beaten ahead by Just a Sting. I know you can make a case for Cobra de Mai reversing the form, but he's got 5 lengths to find, and I think Quarenta on this sort of ground I think he'll be able to frank that form. I think he'll be able to keep that form. I like his chance here. I think the race is sort of set up and tailor made for him. I think that's the key. He'll have his ground, and the race is going to be sort of set up for him. The other one I sort of considered was Calypto. You've got to forgive Venetia's horses not running particularly well. She's not exactly banging the winners in. She's had a few that have gone close, which gives you a hope, but she's only sort of 1 from 17 in the past couple of weeks. She's not having the winners that she was doing back in sort of November, December time. But Calypto was 3rd in this last year. He's another one that's going to be sort of held up out the back. He was 3rd in this off a mark of 143 last year with Charlie Deutsch on board. He's 146 this time around, but he has got Hugh Nugent taking 5 off, so that's going to help his cause. And again, I think he's just another one of these that the race is going to be set up for. Wants probably 3 mile, good ground, and he's going to get that tomorrow. You can forgive his 2 efforts on soft ground, his last couple of efforts on soft ground, and particularly his one at Chepstow in December. That was never going to be his thing, I don't think. So they were the interesting pair for me, Quarenta and Calypto in that Skybet chase. I'll make a decision if I'm going to back one or the other again in the morning. What is the best bet tomorrow out of all that lot? I don't think there is a best bet. But there's not one in particular that I'm sort of hammering down on and thinking I think that's got a really good chance. I do think Ruthless Article is going to be overpriced in that Ballymore trial at Cheltenham. Is around about, say, this 25 and 33 around, and when I sort of looked at the race, I made him sort of half that sort of price. 12-14 was where I had him, so I think he's overpriced. I think he's not the best bet tomorrow, but certainly the best value bet, I think, of those. Anyway, I've rabbited it on for too long. Best of luck, guys, with your punting this weekend. Some tricky cards. And I wish you all the best, and I'll be back on Tuesday with a review of the weekend. Cheers, guys.